Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boleyn Lounge with me, Jeff, for another Tuesday Talkshow. Not sure if Nick's joined us this evening or not, as he's been having a few technical problems. If you tuned in last week, you're probably aware of that. But I've sent him a link, so if he can get in, I'm sure he will. And hopefully Budgie might pop in and see us later on. But in the meantime, I'll do my best to bring you a show. I'd like to say thanks to all of you for joining me and supporting me over the last year or two. Really appreciate it. Thanks to the extra couple of subscribers that have joined us over the last week or two. Much appreciated. If you're watching this, please do like the video, and if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. And now I'll come to the live chat shortly, but I'll just talk to you briefly about our fantastic win over Tottenham Hotspur at the weekend. Great result. Wasn't really expecting the team to line up the way it did, with a pretty defined 4-4-2. Solid performance from the lads. Showed a bit of grit and determination that sort of been missing from a lot of our fixtures. So can we have a bit more of that, please? And there were good performances all over the pitch. I did feel like we started a little bit slowly, as we often do, and I was a bit worried in the first 5 minutes or so. I thought, oh God, it's just a pattern of the game. We could get eyed in here. But no, it wasn't to be. We really got stuck in, put some fight in. And Somerville gives us the lead in 15 minutes off of the arse of Van der Ven. I think we'd have all taken a goal off of the arse of one of the Spurs players if it was going to give us a win. And well, it was near enough off his arse anyway. Areola made a good double save, and other than that, I don't think he had an awful lot to do. They didn't offer too much threat, and really enjoyed the snappy tackles going in. The commitment and the work rate was there throughout the whole team. I've got to say, I've got to give commendation to the referee here, because I think we've been on the wrong side of some poor refereeing performances recently. But I really felt, especially first half, he let that game really flow and unravel. It was a bit blood and guts, and plenty of thundering tackles going in, and he let it flow. So fair play to him for that. He could have easily been stop-start, and to be fair, we could have been 2 or 3 up by half time. Missed a couple of good chances, and that's a bit of a story of our season as well. Not taking chances, and you did wonder, being only a goal up, would that come back and haunt us? And second half starts again. We start slowly, like we often do. The start of halves, we don't seem to come out of the blocks. It's been a bit of a trend at West Ham for quite a long time under a number of managers. So I don't know what it is, but we do need to come out of the dressing room a little bit quicker. And after what was a disappointing first half from their perspective, they came out and they came at us in the second half, and the pressure was building, and you could feel that we were likely to concede. And sure enough, 64th minute, towering header, I have to say, from Romero. Absolutely wicked ball in. You look at the replay and you think, does Mav get stuck under the ball a little bit? But actually, I think that's being a little bit harsh on him. It was just a brilliant ball in. But I do think AWB got caught in his heels a little bit, and not for the first time at the back post. He does tend to do that. It's one of the reasons why when I've heard calls for him to play in a centre back role, I'm not so keen. I think he falls asleep a little bit too often, gets caught like that. So I'm not an advocate of him being a centre back. But as the game went on, I thought he was tiring. Actually, the lads gave everything, and we just got a bit gassed, and they were obviously pressing. I think I've heard people say that we sat back and invited Spurs onto us. I'm not. I don't kind of advocate that quite as much. I think they came out the blocks a bit quick second half. They were always going to try and put some pressure on us. I watched a similar performance from them against Villa. They were much better second half than they were first half, and I do think that at midway-ish through the second half, Nuno did start thinking about he need to make some changes and perhaps try and protect the point a little bit. But like I say, I think the boys were really tiring. Some immense performances in there. I thought Fernandes was absolutely outstanding. My man of the match. I've seen others say that Mavropanos might have been their man of the match. And I thought he had a good game. I think he got away with a couple though, a couple of weak headers that on another day we might have got punished for, and we have done in the past. And I thought it was a bit strange bringing Wilson on like the 90th minute. I really thought he could have introduced him a little bit earlier. Pablo put in a shift. I've seen people say about it. I think he's getting a bit of a hard time, by the way. I know he was signed for little money a year ago, and we've paid big money for him. But that's not his fault, and I think people are holding that against him a little bit, getting on his case, saying he's not good enough, and I don't think he's had a chance to prove himself yet. And he's had goal involvements in the last two games that he's played in. What I've heard people in the past call pre-assists when they're trying to support players that are supposed to be more creative that haven't done a lot. They get credited with pre-assists. So on that metric, he's got two pre-assists in the last two games. So not bad for a player that's off the pace and not good enough for the Premier League. So my vote on him is just give the lad a chance. And he was definitely a nuisance. His touch does look a little bit heavy at times. But he works hard. He gets involved, and he looks committed. But yeah, Wilson comes on 90 minutes, and within 3 minutes he's got his goal. He makes a great chance for himself that we win the corner off of, and then he just stabs in a scramble on the line, doesn't he? And we pinch a win. Really, it looked for all the world it was going to peter out into a 1-1 draw. But we've nicked it. He was in the right place, right time, got the ball over the line, and overall, I think it was a well-deserved victory for us. I thought we really earned that. Like I say, if we'd have been 2 or 3 up in at half time, I don't think Spurs could have complained, and we could argue that we deserved it. So yeah, massive 3 points for us. What I would caveat that with, and I do think it was a really good performance from the lads, by the way. But I do think that we got to keep in mind that it was an out of form, depleted Spurs team who's they got a dreadful home record. It's almost as bad as ours. And there's 3 teams with a worse home record than them, and it's us, Burnley, and Wolves, which sort of tells the story in itself, doesn't it? So I don't want to get down on it. I'm not trying to take away a bit of the gloss off of it. I think it's an absolutely brilliant win, much needed. desperately needed those 3 points. Gives us bragging rights over the Spurs, which is always nice. Um, but we've got to back that up now with a win against Sunderland at the weekend. And well, I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are in the chat. Let me know whether you agree with me on my summation of the game. And let me just come to the chat now. Colin's in. He says good evening all, and Ian's in. Thanks for joining us, Ian. Good to see you guys. Thank you. Brendan says evening to Jeff and the studio guests and the chat. Well, no studio guests just now, but evening to you, Togs. And yeah, good evening to all of you in the chat. Ian says he agrees. He thought that was the best ref performance he's seen this season. Yeah, like I said, I think we've been on the wrong end of a few, and I think we've had some really poor referees in recent weeks. But I thought he had a good game, the referee. I thought he let it flow pretty well. Tox is saying the Sunderland game is another must-win. The lads need to perform for the home fans, but I do think it will be a more cautious 90 minutes. We need to reproduce what we did against Spurs. I don't know whether he's going to stick with this 4-4-2 formation. Like I say, it kind of caught me out. I wasn't expecting to see it. I was expecting to see more like the setup that he set out with QPR. I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. What a great performance it was. And we looked pretty good with the two up top there. I think he should utilise Wilson a little bit more. And stories today that he might be staying. That the board have told Nuno that he can't get rid of him, which is not good. But I was surprised to see Wilson on the bench where he'd been missing amongst the rumours of him going. I'm pleasantly surprised, I have to say. And yeah, it's good that he got on, and he obviously got the goal. But I think he could have introduced him earlier, and that kind of shows a bit of reluctance to use him. The guy knows where the goal is, doesn't he? Words is in. Thanks for joining us, Words. He says good evening. And says hi to Brendan and to you other guys in the chat there. Colin has joined us as well. Hi, Colin. Thanks for joining us. He says good evening. That was a fantastic win, and I think myself, the new assistant coach, was something to do with that. I do actually starting to think we could haul ourselves out of the relegation zone. Yes, funny how things change so quickly, isn't it? Because I think we were all really deflated after Forest and feeling like that was probably it. But a great win for us, a great performance and a great win. And if we can back that up with 3 points against Sunderland, Forest have a star. Fuck it. Spurs have just scored. I was hoping to watch them lose again tonight. Romero again. Yeah, anyway, we do need to back it up with a win against Sunderland. Forest drop points. We're kind of right bang on their shoulder again. And I do think, and I have said for a few weeks, that I think that the rigours of Europe can take its toll on Forest. They're not that good, but they have got that European commitment. And those Thursday, Sundays, we know what it's like. We know how difficult it can be. And yeah, I think we can catch them still, but we've got to win our games. We can't just rely on them dropping points. We've got to pick our own points up. And if we were to win on Saturday, that'd be only the second time this year we've got back-to-back wins. So going into the fixtures after that, Chelsea's a tough one, isn't it? But Man United look much improved. I have to say, I watched the Manchester derby before our game, and I thought, blimey, what a lift that Carrick had given them. much like Colin saying about our new coach, I don't know if he had enough time to influence it that much. What a difference there was in our performance than in recent weeks. So maybe you're right, Colin. Maybe he has had something to do with it. And Carrick obviously has influenced and got so much more out of those Man United players. And then I watched our game and I thought, fuck me, have we got a new manager or something? Because we look like a different team as well. Tog says it's easier to attack a ball like that than to defend. AWB is a right back. Where were the centre backs? Yeah, like I say, Togs, I did watch it back, and I did think, did Mav get stuck under the ball? Because I do think that's something that he does do. I think he does get stuck under the ball a little bit too often, and but I think that's being really hard on him. I think it was a fantastic ball and brilliant header from Romero. Um, and for me, I think if anyone needs to do better, it's Wan-Bissaka. I think he just caught on his heels and beaten to the ball. Guys, just saying good evening to each other. Still, Colin says good evening to all you wonderful people in the chat. We can do this. We need to keep the faith. Yeah, I think we can do it. It's not out of reach yet. There's long enough left in the season for us to mount a challenge. But we've got to start now. We've got to take this positive result and move along from there. We've got to back it up. This weekend we need to win. Sunderland are not the greatest away from home. They're still a decent side, but they're not the greatest. All their points really are coming at home. Trouble is, we're not the greatest at home, and really, aside from Newcastle, I can't say we've had that good a home performance. I don't think we're that bad against Nottingham Forest, but ultimately we lost the game. We won against Burnley, but blimey, we made hard work of that in the end. Certainly not that convincing. Ian says, one thing that I have noticed is how important it is for my own mood that West Ham win. I think that's reflected in all of us. We just can't help ourselves. Winning two in a row now has put a spring in my step. It's been pretty joyless for a while now, hasn't it? It absolutely has. And I kind of overlooked the QPR game when I'm saying win two in a row. Obviously, we have won two in a row, but I'm talking about in Premier League terms. And obviously, in real terms, that would equate to three in a row, which, yeah, would absolutely help the feel-good factor. And a good tie in the FA Cup too. So, hopefully we can progress in that as well. Ian says, I think keeping Wilson is vital. And I didn't think I'd be saying that when we initially signed him. He is the closest thing to a proper centre forward that we have had in a long time. I absolutely agree with that. Everything about it. It is vital that we keep Wilson, and I agree. I don't think I would have been saying that when we signed him either. I made it clear my views on Wilson when we signed him. I wasn't a fan for all the reasons that I've said many times before. But he's been great for us, really. And I agree. He's not the closest thing to a proper centre forward that we've had in a long time. He is the best centre forward that we've had in a long time. I was watching a video earlier. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Gonzo or Gio on Hammer's chat, and they were saying that we should extend his contract for another year, perhaps pay him a bit better to keep hold of him, with the caveat that if we were to get relegated, that he stays with us for next season, and saying what striker he would be in the Championship. And I think, as usual with Gio, I think it was Gio. He talks so much sense, and he absolutely would be the best striker in the league, and he would score an absolute hatful of goals. I think we just need to use Wilson a little bit carefully. So I don't really have a problem with Wilson being on the bench. And if he starts the 4-4-2 like he did on Saturday, um, let the guys run themselves out, and bring Wilson on for 20 minutes, half an hour, I think he could be really, really effective. And he's just shown time and again this season, you know, he's an absolute predator. He scores goals. Even at this age, where he's slowed down a bit, he's still deadly. Done a brilliant job for us. Tog says Spurs are still above us in the league, so it does not matter how bad everyone thinks they are. We are worse, so it's a great result. Yeah, absolutely. They are above us in the league. Hopefully, they'll start falling down the league and have to look over their shoulder. I don't think they're going to be in any danger of relegation, but it'd be nice if they had twitchy bum time. I mean, they finished 17th last year, didn't they? Won their cup. And it'd be nice if they finished, 16th or something this year and won fuck all. Then we can all say, be careful what you wish for and all of that to them. Colin says, Jeff, if we can get a win against Sunderland, the pressure will be certainly on Forest, for they go to Brentford Sunday. I can see Brentford beating them. Well, I absolutely could see Brentford beating them, because Brentford have been a little bit of a surprise package this year. I thought they were going to struggle. They lost Thomas Frank, appointed their set piece coach, lost a few of their players. And for all the world, you think, yeah, they're going to be in a relegation battle. And I don't know about you guys in the chat, but they've definitely surprised me. And they're showing that they're a decent side and they can pull off results. And I fully expect them to beat Forest on Sunday after their European endeavours. And I hope they do. But you're absolutely right. We have to win against Sunderland. Saturday is out the window if we capitulate this weekend and don't get ourselves over the line. Words is saying, first half, I didn't recognise us. I agree. Much like I said about Manchester United in the Manchester Derby and what a difference Carrick had made. And it was almost like we had a new manager. I didn't recognise us at all. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't imagine there's a West Ham fan on the planet that didn't enjoy that first half. It was terrific. If we can have a bit more of that fight, that guts, that determination. I mean, they left everything on the pitch. Fernandes, like I say, absolutely immense. But from front to back, Pablo Tati, what a shift they put in. Mavropanos and Tadibo, they were terrific. Even Souček, by the way, I'm a little bit worried about Souček's legs, and he looks a little bit slow. But you can't knock anything he did. Sorry, I'll cut off your comment there, Words. He says, we were great. Guts of glory. Yeah, guts of glory. I felt Nuno played for the draw, but the players got the win. Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I've heard people say that he shut up shop and retreated second half. Like I say, I don't agree with that. I think he did later in the game. He tried to shut up shop, but I don't. I think Spurs tried to come out and come at us, and I think as the game went on, we were getting more and more tired, which is why I think he did try and defend the point. in the end, but we went on to nick it. Colin says, I've always said we are a better team when we play 4-4-2, and I want to see more of the same. Well, if the guys are going to put in that performance, I'd agree with you. I think the thing is, with the 4-4-2, um, Bowen and Somerville looked a lot more effective, both going forwards and coming back. They both helped and covered their fullback and contributed that way. And going forwards, we kind of kept our width, which I think sometimes we've found where we've tried to use the wing backs overlapping. I think Somerville and Bowen at times has come in and found themselves a bit narrower, and I think it's been a bit to the detriment of them. What a game Somerville had, by the way. Um, Superb. I hope he carries on in that vein, and I hope now 2 goals in 2 games has boosted his confidence, and he can go on, and we'll see a lot more of him and a lot more end product that we've all been waiting for. Mark is in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Mark. And he says, "Hi, Jeff and chat. Keep Wilson and Suchek back in the lineup." Yeah, and like I was saying, Suchek worries me a little bit. I think the lack of legs in there shows us a little bit, leaves us potentially leave us a little bit exposed. But it's hard to be too tough on him because Suchek is Suchek, isn't he? And he gives you what he gives you, and it's nothing but 100%. And he carries a threat in the opposing box, and he can absolutely help us in our own box. Oh, Dortmund got a player sent off now, so down to 10 men, 1 goal down. So Spurs might get a home win. Tog says, I will not be criticising players, Jeff. There are many channels that bathe in that hate. I avoid them channels. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's plenty of channels that are always looking to find fault in players. I think it's fair to say that if players make mistakes or have bad games, it's okay to say it. But I understand the bathe in hate comment because I do think some of it's a little bit over the top, and there's quite a lot of scapegoating that goes on. Suchek is one of those that has been hugely scapegoated in the past. Interestingly, Soufal, I've seen a lot on the channels and in comments about Soufal after his Talksport interview and going off to Hoffenheim, and lots of people saying, "Oh, we need him now," and what a miss he is, and all the rest of it. And yet, people were queuing up to say they didn't want him playing for the football club anymore, and he wasn't good enough. And now some people are saying, "Oh, what we could have really done with him during the Afcons, and what a job he could still do for us." If I'm honest, I think it was probably right for Soufal to move on, and I think Walker Peters is probably going forwards better cover for us at right back than Soufal is. Now, I do think he was a massive personality around the football club, and I do think that in terms of allowing him his move to Fulham and family stay in London, and we could have attracted a fit. I kind of agree with all of that. I think that not for the first time with our players, the football club has treated one of our players a bit shoddily in the way that he's left, and they could have done that better. I think the fan base have got short memories as well, and lots of the people, like I say, him and Cresswell. I think Cresswell could have done a job and been good around the dressing room this year. I think he's one that we could have kept, but lots of people wanted to see him gone, and they're now saying we should have kept him. So there doesn't seem to be any winning with us sometimes. This is a great comment from Mark here. Stop Xhaka and we stop Sunderland. Don't give him room. I totally agree. I'm worried about Xhaka this weekend, and I do wonder if he will set up with three in midfield on Saturday, or if he will stick to the 4-4-2. Now, the 4-4-2 going forwards, I thought Tati and Pablo, they just worked incessantly. But it's not just about them, is it? Everything around the whole team works so hard. Like I said, with them two up front, and then Somerville and Bowen doing those rolls wide. Fernandez and Soucek in the middle of the park. To a man, they were superb. And like I say, I think Mav got away with a couple of weak headers in that game. Perhaps he's due getting away with a couple because he often gets punished. Tadibo, I thought, was superb. Skulls, young player that's coming for some criticism in some games, conducted himself really well. Wan-Bissaka, like I say, I think he's a little bit at fault for the game for the goal, but I think Walker Peters is a little bit unlucky actually to be ousted straight out of the team. I thought he'd done a decent job for us covering while Wan-Bissaka's away. And interesting for the weekend, does Jiff come straight back in, or does he stick with Skulls? What do you guys in the chat think about that? Because Wan-Bissaka came back from AFCON straight back in the team. I wonder if that's going to be the case for Jiff. And if it is, there's one thing about Jiff. If he gets forward, his delivery into the box is we haven't seen that much of it, but we know he's very, very capable. And if we've got Tati and Pablo and perhaps Soucek crashing into the box, maybe we'll get some joy out of that. So there's a potential to create some goal scoring chances there. Oh, Colin says a great goal for Inter against Arsenal, 1-1. I might stick that on in a minute because I can't see Dortmund getting back into this for 10 men. And Ian says, yes, that was a cracking goal. So obviously watching the wrong game. Mark says our strikers were converted wingers. Wilson's the real deal. Sign Wilson to a proper contract with an option. Yeah, I don't know what the rules are regarding. I don't know if we have to improve his contract. I don't think we can just say, oh, do you know what? We'll give you some extra money a week. I think we might have to extend it to offer him an improved contract. But why not? And this is another strange thing about Wilson, isn't it? I mean, we're all saying don't let him go. Perhaps not all of us, but lots of us were not that keen on him coming. There was lots of speculation earlier in the season about him being told not to use him because Sullivan was too tight, didn't want to pay the bonus money, and one thing or another. And here we are with news now that Sullivan's telling Nuno he's got to keep him, so he's obviously not that worried about. And even why is he not playing him? So both things can't be true. So it just goes to show what a load of old nonsense comes out of football club a lot of the time. Where's it saying? We're the early game Saturday, 12:30. I hope we come out fighting on the front foot, the same as we did against Spurs first half. I totally agree. I'm a little bit annoyed about that. It means I've got to leave early, got to get out early, walk the dog, get on the train early for early kick-off. I don't really like them 12:30s, but and I don't know what our record is in the early games. Perhaps someone in the chat can let us know. Is that a good kick-off time for us, or is it one that we struggle with? Ian's asking, Jeff, who would you like to see us sign next? I see we are faffing around with various wingers. I'm worried about the lack of interest in a, I think you mean central defender. I think Cresswell would be ideal. Yeah, I said earlier in the window before we'd signed anyone, actually, that I thought we might get a couple of loans, a centre forward, and Cresswell. I thought we'd sign Traore and a couple of loans, and maybe a centre forward would be on a loan. Well, it turns out we've signed a couple of permanent signings. I still think we're going to sign Traore to keep Nuno happy. I'd like to know what all your guys' thoughts are on Traore. I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword for me with him because I'm not that big a fan of him, and we moan about Somerville or up till now not having much end product. I think Traore is a bit like that. But coming off the bench, he could be an option. He could give us an outlet, and if we were to go down, he'd probably be a good player in the Championship. But I think his best days are behind him. I hear rumours of signing Tyrone Mings today, but it was Eric Dyer last week, and that seems to have gone all quiet. Now it's Mings, and I think it shows how desperate we are really when we're talking about players like Mings, because I'm not a real big fan of Mings either, but I actually think if he can stay fit, he probably improves our centre backs. Um, Bit of a worry, really. So I think, getting back to your question, Mark, Ian, I think we definitely need to bolster up in our centre back department. If Paqueta goes, we probably need another midfielder, and we probably do need a winger because if Somerville or Bowen gets injured, suspended, we don't have a lot of options there. So I just don't know how much money there is, to be honest with you. Still room for a couple of loans, though. So we'll see. What are your thoughts, Ian? What do you think we need? Colin says, Palace of the team, Jeff. I can see could end up falling down the table. I mean, they're in free fall at the moment, Colin. A bit like Spurs in the league, struggling to pick up points. I'm not sure Palace are going to get pulled down into the relegation fight. I think really the only team that's likely to is Forest. I'll be honest. I think it's between us and Forest. Um, Burnley could pull themselves out, but I'm not sure they've got enough to win the games that they need to win. They're picking up draws. They're giving a good of account of themselves in a lot of games. But I don't know if they've got enough to go and win the games that they need to win to reel the teams in above them, unless it's us, of course. Um, oh, fucking hell. Solanke's just scored for Spurs 2-0, so I'll change this in a minute. Yeah, so I don't think Palace will get drawn down into the bottom three. The Wolves are gone. Burnley, I think, will go. And like I say, I think it's between us and Forest, if I'm perfectly honest. But I do think that we can reel Forest in. I think we've got every chance. Must win on Saturday, though. Absolutely must win on Saturday. Tog says, Wilson needs 4 goals to hit 150 in the Premier League. I didn't know that. I tell you what, he's got every chance. Gets a few. He doesn't need too many minutes, does he, to get a goal? So, yeah, he wants that for sure. Yeah, I agree. He absolutely will want to hit that target. I do not think he'd want to play in the Championship next year if he misses out on that landmark this season. You might be right. But when I was saying about that, I was like I was saying, I think it was Gio was saying that he would offer him an extension to his contract, pay him perhaps better instead of this low wage around incentives and appearances. Perhaps give him a bit more of a reasonable wage, perhaps still heavily incentivized, but just to say if we were to go down that he needs to stick with us. And I think that wouldn't that it would be a fair exchange. I think to say, okay, do you know what, Callum? You stayed fit so far this season. You're scoring goals for us. You've shown you can still do it. We're going to offer you an improved contract, but in the worst case scenario that we do get relegated, we want you to stay with us next year and help us get promoted. I don't know whether he'd go for that. I don't know if he'd bite at that contract offer, but I think it would be worth doing. Colin says, I would keep Scholes in because of his defensive ability, even though I like Jiff attacking skills. But Scholes never done anything wrong. I agree with you, Colin. I don't think Scholes has done anything wrong, much as I don't think Walker Peters did very much wrong. And then AWB come straight back in after the AFCON. So I totally agree. I don't think Scholes has done anything wrong at all. I think it might be a bit harsh on him if he were to lose his place. But I just wonder, on the basis of Juff being his first choice before he went away, and AWB obviously respectively being his first choice on the other side, and bringing him straight back in if he would do the same. So it's a nice conundrum for Nuno to have, though. I think it's nice to say, do you know what? With what we could consider four decent fullbacks to choose from now. So good stuff. I would not have a problem if Scholes stays in. And equally, I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem if Jiff came in. But if he came in and had a bit of a howler defensively, I think the fans would be asking why Scholes was given the heave ho in favour of him. So pressure might be on him a little bit. Tox says he don't want Traore. If he does come, I hope he does well, but not for me. Yeah, I'm much in the same camp as you there, Brendan. I don't particularly want him. And if the rumours of 7 million is true, then I just think it's too much. If they're going to sign him for 3 or 4 million, like was rumoured earlier in the window, and it keeps Nuno happy, then I'm kind of okay, shrug my shoulders, hope he does well, much like yourself. But I'm really not an advocate of Traore. Like to think we were setting our sights a little bit higher. But we are where we are, I guess. Ian saying Traore is a no for me. One of the most frustrating and wasteful players to watch. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page there, really, regards Traore in that respect. It does give you a bit of an outlet. He offers a bit of pace. Never know how long he's going to be fit for. And yeah, very wasteful. Words is saying, if we do somehow manage to stay up, that Wilson goal will be the catalyst that changed our future. Yep, can't argue with that. Maybe it's a bit unfair just to like the goal ultimately gave us the win, but I think it might be fairer to say that performance, the way that the lads they really played for each other, they really looked up for it, they really had some fight and bite about them, something that's been just missing in so many games. If we cast our mind back to the Wolves game, it's a different team. It's a lot of the same personnel, but it's completely different. And I agree with the comment. I forget who said earlier, so apologies for that. But it's the best performance we've seen all season. They were excellent. Front to back, they were excellent. The only thing that worries me a little bit, and again, it might be being a little bit overcritical, but Areola's distribution is a bit of a concern. I mean, his shot stopping is not in question, and he made a great double save in the first half. Can't argue with that. But I do worry that when the ball's at his feet and he kicks it long, it just comes back at us all the time. All the time. He doesn't do well picking players out. Ian says, I'd almost forgotten about Paqueta. We didn't seem to miss him at all, did we? He doesn't do enough for me. Take the money if it is available. We look like a better working team without him. The trouble with Paqueta is, and I've always held this view about him, I think he's always been a bit inconsistent for us. And when he's good, he's very, very good. He looks every bit the world beater that sections of the fan base like to crow about and say that he is. And when he's not, and he's throwing himself around on the floor, giving away easy passes, not at the races that he often is, he looks like a liability and he looks like a luxury we can't afford. So it's a real double-edged sword with Paqueta. I think it's absolutely no secret that he wants to go back to Brazil. Not even in this window. I think he's kind of made it quite clear that that's ultimately where he would like to go. He's had enough of England. He's had enough of the FA. I don't doubt that he's been scarred by the betting scandal that was laid at him over the last 2 years. And I don't think we can blame him for that. I don't think that's in its entirety down to the inconsistency of his performances. But I think it's fair to say that it probably has affected him mentally and perhaps on the football pitch at times. And I'm happy to concede that. But I still do think he can be a little bit inconsistent. And to your point, take the money. I kind of agree. He wants to go. If we can get £40 million for him now in this window, quite a lot of money in January. I'd rather they did it sooner rather than later, and give us a chance to reinvest that and get in influential players that we might need to help us get out of the mess that we're in. Because we've all got a little bit of belief now. One win turned us around. Back that up with another win on Saturday. Watched Forest lose on Sunday, and I tell you what, we'll all be believing. We will all be believing that we can catch them. And I tell you, if we can string a few wins together, if we can put in some performances like we did on Saturday, we'll be in a place to give Leeds a game on the final day of the season. Now, I'm not sure that when I say give Leeds a game, that it'll be them or us. Still think it's going to be us or Forest. But we may well need to win that game. And Leeds don't roll over, do they? They fight and they graft. And I don't see any reason why they won't do that. And if they got a chance to relegate us, I'm sure they'd seize that opportunity. So if we keep on with performances like we had on Saturday, it'll put us in a place where we might actually give them a game and get over the line, get the 3 points that we're likely to need last game of the season. If we can get out and afford not to win the last game of the season, I think that would be amazing turnaround for us. I don't think any of us a couple of weeks ago would have had faith in Nuno or our team being able to do that. But it'd be a miraculous turnaround. Mark says, what is the Paqueta situation? Could still need him. Well, I agree. A good Paqueta on his day absolutely could be a match winner for us. I've kind of said where I am with Paqueta. I think he's made it quite clear that he wants to ultimately go back to Brazil. I think sometimes we should perhaps not stand in players' ways when it comes to things like that. If we can get the money for him, that's the only thing I would say about it. We need to make sure that we get the money. We can't just go, oh, do you know what, Lucas? We really understand why you're fed up in England and why you want to go back home. So go with our blessing and get bugger all for him. But if Flamengo are willing to pay around £40 million for him in this window, I think we could probably use that money, invest it in the squad, give us a better chance of getting over the line. Make West Ham great again, says Paqueta. Out, out, out. No doubts how you feel then. You absolutely, oh God. I've just zoomed right out. I'm in trouble here. Oh God, don't know how to zoom that in. I can't scroll down them comments no more. That's dreadful. I might have to just open another window for a second. Just bear with me, guys. Apologies about this. I am so technologically bad. There we Okay, I can hear myself. Fuck's sake. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Oh, there's two of me in here. Fucking hell, there's two of me on the screen. I've done myself. Here we go. Let's try that. This is okay. Well, dreadfully, I can hear myself. That's gonna be right off. Well, let's try and get to your comment. I hope there's not an echo in the chat. Great viewing, I'm sure. I might have messed this right up. Right, I'm going to struggle to do with these comments, so I do apologise. In fact, I fucked it up so much I can't get the columns. Ah, I could see Ian's comment that says, Collins, I think Skiles has improved since his mistake against Fulham. Goes to show you have to play. Um, I kind of agree with that. I think he has really. He was absolutely devastated um, when he made that mistake. He was in front of me, and I was desperate for someone to go over and put their arm around. Yeah, I said on the week. Um, he was absolutely in tears on the floor, and I don't think his teammates supported him well enough in that moment, and he's recovered brilliantly from that. And I can't do your comments, guys, and I can't put up with this echo that I've got. I can see words that says there's no echo in yours, but there is in my ear. It is absolutely dreadful. What I might do if I close the window. Okay, guys. Hopefully you can still hear me. Please do let me know. I can scroll the comments now, so just going to scroll to the bottom of the chat. Can you let me know if if I'm still on the show here? because I've closed my window and reopened it, and fuck me. Sorry about this, guys. I will try and skip through your comments now. I do apologise for my uselessness. This is dreadful, isn't it? Live show, lovely. Thanks, words. I'll just try and find where I was in the comments now. Okay, here we go. Kind of caught up. Ah, to Terence. Hi, Terence. Thanks for joining me. Sorry to everyone who's still in the chat for for that mess about there. He says, "Hello, geese. Crap season so far. I know we have got to be respectful, but a great win over the dildos, and I do think we have strength up front. Defence that lets us down." I mean, I did say earlier I thought that Pablo, I think, is getting a bit of harsh press at the moment. I think he needs a bit more credit. Uh, he goes on to say, "And why are we not playing Wilson consistently? Oh my God, this man scores goals. He absolutely does. I've got no problem with him coming off the bench. Not sure how good he'll be. Not how good he'll be. I think that's unfair on Wilson. It's not about how good he will be starting games. He's perfectly capable of starting games. I'm just not sure if we run him into the ground by continually starting him. But I'd be a great advocate of giving him 20 minutes, half hour each game. Come on, he does the damage." Make West Ham great again says, "I know there isn't much to choose from, but I think Todibo is a player of the season. I wanted him out, but he has completely turned it around." Yeah, absolutely. Lots of us were sort of saying that he wasn't good enough. Plenty were saying they didn't want to see him in the shirt anymore. He looked dreadfully unfit um, last year, and he looked like he was blowing this year at times. But, he looks a different player. Ian says, "Colin, I think Scars has improved since his mistake against Fulham. Goes to show you have to play youngsters and accept they make mistakes at times." Absolutely agree with that. And the good ones will learn with them. And I kind of said that about our midfield as well regarding Potts. If we want young players in our side and we want our academy players to come through, we have to accept that they're going to make mistakes, and we can't just get on their backs all the time when they do. We have to just kind of say, okay, and as you say, learn from it, move on, make sure it doesn't happen again, but put it down to experience. And Scholes has done a brilliant job of that. He hasn't let it scar him and damage him, which it really could have. I don't see Traore coming in. For we're being linked with other wingers. We are being linked with Pablo Garcia. Hearing we are prepared to pay his release clause, and linked with Asprilla today. Yeah, with the trouble is with all these links, we've we've been linked to 100 plus players in this window or before the window, and we've signed 2, haven't we? Maybe soon to be 3. So I don't buy into all the links all the time. I'll be honest with you. I know lots of people like to do their transfer stuff. I kind of like to see when they're here and judge them once they got the shirt on. Juff was the one that gave away a penalty that caused all the commotion at that Senegal players march off the pitch bicycle. But yeah, I didn't watch the game, but I did know that he gave away the penalty, and he might have come back scarred if that had cost them the trophy. So, but it's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Walking off 20 minutes later, taking a penalty, and yeah, it's not a good look. Terence says, we have a go at the goalkeeper. I'm sorry, but our defence is crap. We need to replace at least 5 players. Yeah, fair comment. Ariola's got us out of lots of spots. He's kept us in games lots of times. I just do think his distribution is lacking. Colin's asking how the canal boats doing. Yeah, it's fine, mate. So I haven't been back there since the new year, but we will do, and I'm sure I'll keep you all up to date with it. Make West Ham great again says, what gives me hope is in the second half of the season, you do get strange results. Some sides will be in the beach come April, May. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mark says 442. No echo and a live show. And I've got down, or have I got down to the bottom? Yeah, just about. No echo and live show. Good stuff. I hear you may be coming through loud and clear. Excellent. Right. Well, listen, guys, I really apologise for that complete mess up in the middle of the show there. I've kind of got down to the bottom of the chat. I want to thank all of you that have stuck with me for sticking with me. I really, really appreciate it. It's quite tough doing these solo shows when you haven't got anyone with you to bounce off of. Um, so, again, thank you for sticking with me. Thanks for your contributions in the live chat. Hopefully, later in the week, I'll give you another walk and talk video leading up into the Sunderland game. Hope you guys are enjoying them. I know Brendan and Words, you've been really engaging, and thank you so much for that, getting involved in the comments. Really appreciate it. And it'd be great if some of you others would like to get involved in the comments as well. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. I'm quite enjoying doing them, so I'll stick with them unless lots of you saying to me, "Don't bloody do them; they're dreadful." You never know. It's been slippy out there. I might slip over flat on my arse and give you a bit of entertainment in that way. You never know. It might be more entertaining than my West Ham chat. Who knows? But I'll run through what my team might be and what I think we might do against Sunderland. So I'll bring you a video later in the week. And in the meantime, thanks to all of you for joining me. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Come on, you Irons.